Yeah, man, how you doing? Yeah, I'm reading Creepshow, dude. It's so good. It's really good. This last panel, it's Bernie Wrightson. You want to read it? Here you go. Right? I know.
West Coast Davengers. West Coast Davengers.
You are ready for this?
Welcome back to the West Coast Avengers. How are you doing? My name is Dave. I am a comic collector, a comic seller, and an all-around comic enthusiast. These are my adventures. These are my comics. This is my brain. These are my drugs.
Comics are my drugs. Comics are my drugs.
Every Wednesday, please join me for West Coast Wednesday, my comic book auction and claim sale, and every Sunday, join me for Sunday Sit Down, Doobie-Doo-Boo. Sunday Sit Down is just a jam of me talking about comics, showing off some stuff, Q&A, and having guests. It's my variety show. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Ooh, yeah. As some of you may know, I spent part of the last week on the road with my buddy Dave, Diggin' Dave, and we did our now annual comic book road trip, which had me flying down to San Francisco and driving up to Tacoma, and Dave flew home. We hit as many comic book stores as we could find, antique malls, had some great conversation. We went to the Oregon Museums of Science and Industry to go see the Marvel Superheroes original art exhibition, which now is my second time, and I'll probably go a third time. What I loved about this trip is what we've been doing for the last couple years is just visiting comic stores, seeing what we can find, that excitement when you walk into a comic book store and you see all this stuff and you're like, oh, what am I going to find? What kind of deal am I going to get? What kind of gem am I going to uncover? What am I going to dig out of the bins? That is really the joy. The only other retail experiences I can think of that compare to that is if you're a big record collector and you want to go digging in a record store you've never been to, or a used bookstore, which can always yield things like comics. This is going to be a two-parter because I have a lot to talk about and a lot of footage to show you. I've gotten to know the Bay Area shops real well, and some of them on a personal level, such as Age Batcave, which you'll see soon. And the first shop that we went to after I had landed in SF was Escapist Comics in Berkeley. And it is a quite legendary store. You might recognize the name of it from a Michael Chabon book. The cool thing about this store is it's separated by two levels. Upstairs is where you can dig back issues and see some of the more higher priced items and the weird stuff and the ephemera. You just have to make sure that there's more than one employee in the store so they can let you up there. The bottom floor, though, is great on its own right. You got your new books in the back, but the entire store is just shelves of hardcovers and trade paperbacks. And I've found some good out of print stuff there, so you really have to dig on those shelves and look at everything. Last time I was there, I found a James O'Barr signed sketchbook. So this
I'm gonna film all this stuff. Yeah, move it over here.
Where are we, Dave?
Escapist.
That's a great hint that it doesn't. I've never used this thing. What kind of password hint?
Where's the one that we did use?
What time is it in India? Can I ask? I think Corinne would be like, I'm ignoring the shit I do.
Name of the password.
Posters.
Wild. Yes.
It is?
Yes.
There you go.
We went upstairs and it was me and Dave and our friend Paul. And we dug around, and the first thing that actually Dave had pointed out to me is the one thing I bought, and it was this. This is a Headline Comics number 37 from 1949. But what's so special about this? Yes, it's graded at 2.5. That cover is a Jack Kirby photo cover. That is the King right there, playing a Humphrey Bogart-like detective guy, looking more like Billy Joel than Jack Kirby. I thought this was dope. I got it at a steal. I think I paid $100 for this. This was really cool, something I had been familiar with only by the lore of its existence, but I'd never seen it before. That was Escapist Comics. We went to Half Price Books in Berkeley after that, which was a mess. The next day was our big Bay Area digging day. Because of the storms that had come through, we weren't going to try to attempt any flea markets. We just stuck to stuff indoors. And our first stop was a little secret of mine. It's a little off the beaten path for most people, but it is Alameda Sports Cards and Comics. Very familiar with the owner, Patty. She's very kind. She's great with pricing. That's the type of store that if you are looking for an issue that came out in the last 2 years, they might actually still have it on their shelves at cover price. And she's always just digging stuff out. I got something. It's The Thing number 16, Charlton Horror Golden Age comic, pre-code. I never found one in person, and she had kind of dug this out from a horror collection she got recently in this. As well, I picked out a Guyver number 1 from her dollar manga bins, which I'm trying to familiarize myself with more manga, being that it's the highest selling comics in the world and in the States. She had some vintage Marvel cards. And if you know me, you know that I'm a sucker for opening boxes. So I bought 2 boxes. They're both Incredible Hulk boxes from 2003. There's one based off the movie and the comics. What I thought was really cool, this one has look for one of one Jack Kirby cut signatures. I really just bought this to see if I can get a Kirby autograph. These things had been sitting on her shelf since the first time I'd walked in the store 3 years ago. And I just made her an offer of $100. And she said, okay. New Man's 87. It's one of my favorite books of all time.
Yeah, it's an awesome cover. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I had that as a kid. Next store we went to was one of my favorite shops that I've talked about on the channel here. That is Game Shop Downstairs in downtown San Jose. Paul had never been there before, and he's a big video game nerd. Dave's brother Dan had never been there before. He's a big comic nerd. So we enjoyed digging around for about an hour. Anthony, the owner, was really sweet, as he always is. So if you are looking for vintage video games or you want to dig around a bunch of dollar bins and low price comics and find some treasures, go to Game Shop Downstairs. This is a Bernie. So it's $10. This is cool. I remember seeing a Stormwatch EC homage signed by Tom Rainey. Well, signed by Travis Shrest, Brandon Troy, Jim Lee. All right, Dave, here we go. We're gonna test. We're gonna test it. Boom!
Damn.
It's just always fun to find them, you know? Well, here's another one.
Damn.
What is that?
This place is amazing.
Yeah, they have sick ass games here. Seriously.
That's I forget who does the cover of the Hulk game, I should say.
Looks like it.
I got a pack of dinosaurs attack, mostly for the gum.
Do you know who partially created that?
Was it Stout?
Art Spiegelman.
Oh, Spiegelman, okay.
What'd you get, Paul?
Toxic High School.
That was very much you. That's why I got it for you.
For sure.
Well, what'd you get, Dan?
I got rock cards.
That's right.
Dude, our force is flattened. That's crazy. These cards are dope. Lunch break. Look at that. They're eating kids out of a school
Such a
bus.
good set.
Megadeth.
Nice.
B-cells.
These are great.
But who's buying?
Fast food frenzy.
My dead grandma.
You have to give me one. Here.
What did you get, son?
I got dinosaur attacks. All right, we've got the Stegosaurus, one of my favorite dinosaurs, impaling that motherfucker.
Yeah.
We've got Lights, Camera, Carnage.
That's sick.
We got, Cat Lady's Revenge.
Whoa.
Shotgun to the face. We've got Entombed.
Whoa, that's creepy.
Oh, fuck yeah. Blue
Oh.
Water Savage Death. These cards are so sick.
Yeah.
Rock Concert Carnage. I love digging around there, even if I don't find a ton. But this time, it was just one book that I picked up that I was stoked on was a Wizard Wildcats Ace Edition. But what's so cool about this is it is signed by Travis Charest, Brandon Choi, and Jim Lee. After that was our excursion to the legendary Bronze Age Batcave. It's definitely my favorite store in the Bay Area. Probably my favorite store in the country. Damon, the owner, good friend. Gabe, who also works there, super knowledgeable and super friendly. I'll say this about Bronze Age Batcave, and I this is leading to something bigger, but if you were a new to comics collector and you walked into that store, they would never make you feel like you're not supposed to be there. They are the friendliest people. They want to engage you. They want to talk to you about comics. They're not trying to rip you off. There is something to be said about this, but when you shop there and you're looking for a big book or even a small book, you are buying the book and the grade. Damon grades these books with an eye that I can only say is one of the best in the biz. Buy with confidence, shop there. You can dig there for hours. We were there for 3 hours, chit-chatting, digging.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah. And yeah, you're gonna pay $7.
So it was a lot of fun. I picked up a couple of books, including this Richard Corbin, Fever Dreams, and a book from our friend Alex Pardee. This is the second print of my book of numbers, and this is a second print on a Richard Corbin book. I was messing around with Gabe, and I told Gabe, I'm going to find something that you probably should price a little more. And I dug through their bins. I found this Marvel Tales 218, the reprint of the first appearance of the Punisher, Mike Zeck cover. But my truffle nose for Mark Jewelers did me right. I actually found the other issue in this tandem as a Mark Jewelers, and Gabe was like, all right, well, I can't charge you any more for it.
Got him.
January 24th on my YouTube, which is a Tuesday, I will be hosting Bronze Age Batcave, and we were going to be doing a live claim sale together on my YouTube channel right here. So get ready. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun, and there's going to be a lot of good books to be had. Stay tuned for more info on that, but the tentative date is January 24th, Tuesday, so it'll be West Coast Tuesday. I can't remember where I picked this up. It was either Bronze Age Batcave or it was at Game Shop downstairs. This is the Wizard Big Book of Covers, going through about 19 years, 20 years of Wizard covers, and I was just excited to pick this up and flip through it. I'm going to be looking at this on a Sunday sit down at some point soon. Oh, that was the end of the stores in the Bay Area. The following day, Sunday, we left. We stopped over at the Solano Flea Market to see if there was any comics worth buying.
We just left comics. Yeah.
It's a fun story. Seems to be all DC.
Yeah, we got him.
Oh, yeah?
5 minutes ago, I just brought him back, yeah.
Oh, okay. Did you get him from another booth?
No, from the other guy. He just used to bring me out here. You know, like every couple months, he bring me a box. You know.
Oh, that's cool. Are you a comic fan?
No, not really. I try to resell it, but I have to check them out, you know.
Oh, right, yeah.
Sure, of course.
Yeah, make sure, like, you know, how much are they, so.
Yeah. Sometimes these things are, you know, you come here.
Like it comes with the trading card.
You come here enough, you see the same books. I think I've seen this stack like a month ago. Ooh.
J. Scott Titty. Oh, Cat's 12.
That doesn't make any sense. Anatomy. Grandpa's Comics and Cards. Apple Valley. That's a past sack.
Wonder if it actually still exists.
My brother would probably buy these. He likes.
There was nothing really there. So we got on the road. The final destination of that evening was Medford, Oregon. My aunt lives there. That's where I usually stay when I do these road trips. Our first stop was Davis, California, and that was supposed to be at Bizarro World. And as you could see in this clip, there was something up. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Power's out.
Hello?
Dave, say hello to Spider-Man.
Hi, Spider-Man. It's so dark in here.
The storms had rolled through Northern California from west to east, taking out the power in Davis completely, and then finally taking out the power in most of Sacramento. So we tried to go in the store, and the guy was like, look, you can't look through comics today. The power's out. And once you stepped about 7 feet into the store, you couldn't really see anything. So that was kind of a bummer because I'd never been to that store. But we made lemonade out of storms. I found an antique mall, and that antique mall was just a couple miles away. The power was on.
Where are we going, Dave?
We are in Woodland looking for the Elves, aka comic book realm. We'll hit this antique mall over here, Main Street Antiques. I don't know what we're gonna find, but we just got some delicious coffee, had a great breakfast burrito, and I'm ready for some comics.
And it's really funny because David really talked about making this a very Bernie Wrightson heavy trip. He was trying to pick up some books that he needed, just for his Bernie Wrightson collection. And just like him, I'm always looking for Bernie. So we go into this antique mall, and the first thing I see in the showcase is a stack of Bernie Wrightson Swamp Things. You gotta love it when you find Bernie Wrightson somewhere. And it's the first thing you find. Well, I'll look at those.
Look at all these comics right here. How do you walk past that?
Right.
What are you doing? I mean, Samurai Omen. That's cool. Is that a Vigil comic? I feel like this is. Oh shit, it is, and it's signed by him.
What?
Dude,
Oh,
Ghost
I love
Rider
that
2
one.
newsstand. And it's a newsstand.
I love that book. It's such a cool cover.
Yeah, it's a good book. I mean, so this book in the original printing, this is one I have a double cover in this book.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm definitely buying that. Just original Watchmen in this bucket. This is like one of these finds that there should be something good in here.
Yeah, there probably was.
Yeah, like a Watchmen 1. I mean, here's number 2.
I'd found some other dollar books that were pretty cool, including another Mark Jewelers. But the stack of Bernie were in these produce bags, and each issue was individually bagged like this. And they were all cheap. It was issues 2 through 9. There was multiples. Dave got a couple. I was just trying to upgrade my copies for my collection, so I got a copy of number 5, a copy of number 8, and then finally also a copy of number 4. It's kind of wild how crispy these things are. And that was pretty much the first day of driving. There's really not a ton once you get out of the Bay Area up into Redding. There's really not a ton of stuff. Some of the stores that are in between, let's say Davis and Medford, are closed on Sundays and open on Monday, or closed on Sundays and Mondays and open on Tuesdays. So it's a little tougher when you're in the sprawl of the country to find stores that are open 7 days a week. That being said, driving with Dave, it's a treat. We always have good conversation.
Dave!
Hi, it's snowing.
So we got to Medford that night, had a good dinner, and got some rest because the next day is probably the highest concentration of trying to hit stores. So our first stop on Monday was a store called Iguana Comics. Iguana Comics is a store that we were at last year, or maybe it was the year before, and the guy was very nice. He let us come behind the counter and look through some boxes of Silver Age stuff. More than delighted to sell us stuff and answer questions. It was the opposite of some of those stores you go into where you ask a question and they're like, and you feel weird. They had moved locations to an old bank building, and we were like, whoa. So we walk in, beautiful store. I'm going to show you the footage of it.
At Iguana Comics in Grants Pass, Oregon. This was one of our stops last trip, and this is a completely different location. So we don't know what we're going to find. We don't know what the setup's going to be, but we are going to get some comic books.
Like a year ago. Now I got like 7 of them in that time. Because they're in every collection. Sleepwalker 1 and Darkhawk 1. If it's not in your 90s collection, then you didn't collect.
I mean, we'll find this.
So we looked around, and as we were looking around, I found Death Rattle number 8 from Kitchen Sink Comics for $1, and it's actually a pretty big key book. It's the first appearance of Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. It's probably a mid-grade or so, but figured I'd pick it up for $1. We were there for about 10 minutes looking around, and the owner, Carl, came in. I started talking to him, and I was just like, yeah, we were here last year, and we're on this road trip, and we just wanted to see if he had this, this, and this. And sure enough, he was as happy as could be to take us around the store. He gave us an entire tour of the store. They brought us into the old bank vault and showed us some stuff. He showed me a case of 90 Marvel Universe, which was really dope. Took us upstairs to all these different rooms and showed us a collection that he has in consignment. He let us dig around. Then he brought us to his office where he had much more stuff. And he basically...
35 cents. It's a weird price. I don't remember that. Oh, it's classic.
I like that cover.
It's another great one too. These are all really crispy. Really nice condition. I wonder if there's a 57 in here. Nope.
What's 57?
Vision. First Vision.
Oh, that was 55.
And I found Uncanny X-Men 239 and Uncanny X-Men 255, both Mark Jeweler variants. This is the first cover appearance of Mr. Sinister. That was cool. These were $3 a piece. And I'm a sucker for cards, and you all know that. I sometimes appear on Spidey Hits channel, open up a box. I just like opening boxes. So I asked him if he had any old vintage Marvel cards in sealed boxes, and he showed me the 90 Marvel Universe, but then showed me a shelf where me and Dave were both able to purchase a box of Bernie Wrightson, Master of the Macabre. Some of the artwork he did for this is some of the best artwork of his, in my opinion. These boxes also contain autographed cards, so there's a chance for that. But I just want to open this up on the channel and go through some great Bernie Wrightson art. I'm really stoked about this box. Silver Surfer Prism cards by Comic Images. All Prism set featuring art from all the Silver Surfer books over the years. You're going to get a lot of Ron Lim, Jim Starlin, George Perez era. Some of the older stuff, some of the Buscema stuff. These cards are fantastic. That store was so much fun to hang out at and talk to him. So I'm going to probably make a separate trip within the next couple months to go down there and then maybe stay with my aunt again just to go to that store. But that is Iguana Comics in Grants Pass, so go check them out. Their store is huge, and they're trying to build like more of a community in a comic book store. So that was the beginning of Monday morning. We're going to come back next week. I'll go through the rest of the stuff. We still have probably about 7 or 8 more stores worth to go through. This was so much fun. And me and Dave had a blast. There's so much you get to experience when you go into a store that you just don't get anywhere else. Each comic store really does have its own identity, and I'm going to tell you about one next week that really kind of takes the cake. So I hope you enjoyed this part 1 of the comic book store field trip. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. Check me out on Instagram. All my links are down below. West Coast Wednesday and Sunday Sit Down are the other times you can watch me doing stupid shit. And as always, keep digging on the...
Scotty Massage.
Body McKee.
Comic books, get your comic books.